Hey everybody. So today I would like to talk about the direction of the Republican Party. And there seems to be two main directions in which the Republican Party is going at the current way. First of all, you have the neoconservative, fiscally moderate, and the socially moderate end of the Republican Party that seems to be currently dominant, but is seeming to be changing. So this wing of the Republican Party seems to really have developed during the time of George Bush Sr., then it transitions into the Bill Clinton years to working with Bill Clinton, and essentially forms this like centrist right coalition of voters. And these Republicans are really dominant out of the Midwest and the Northeast. So these Republicans tend to want a bigger government, bigger spending. However, they just want to be slightly different than the Democrats. Of course, some of them support some socially conservative positions, but on a scale, they're really socially moderate. Some of them are actually socially liberal and fiscally pretty moderate. So the Susan Collins, Lisa McCorsky out of Alaska, and then there's the John Kasich. So these people are rhinos. They do not support really the sentiments of John Locke, our founding fathers. They are not fiscally conservative. This is why we're in a huge issue right now. So the Democrats are pretty much they support restricting liberty. They only support socially liberal platforms only when they can use it to an advantage, in which especially identitary politics. The Democrats really abuse this, but I'm getting sidetracked here. So the rhinos, what they do is they support lower taxes, yet they support a lot of um, the government regulation, and they support increasing taxes. This is this is what they do. They increase taxes to fund Obamacare. Um, the great example is everybody's favorite rhino from my home state, Susan Collins. She really likes Obamacare, and she's the perfect example of this. They're really a Democrat who is trying to distance themselves from the Democratic Party by being posing an alternative look to gain voters. And there's lots and lots of rhinos. There's a few from the South, so like Ted Cochran Ted Cochran out of Mississippi. But again, they're mostly Northeastern Republicans. And these rhinos um are really influential in the current establishment. However, and especially in the leaders of the Republican Party right now, they're extremely big rhinos. Mitch McConnell, Paul Ryan, John McCain. These people have the most of the power in the party, and this is a huge issue. They're really trying to overturn the results of the 2016 election, which elected Donald Trump in this wave of populism that ripped across the country. I was honestly amazed. I can't believe that the Republicans took Michigan, Pennsylvania, Wisconsin. They almost took New Hampshire and Minnesota. It was just a matter of a couple thousand votes in Minnesota and just a couple hundred votes in New Hampshire. It was utterly amazing. Um, the Republicans swept the 2016 election, winning the House, winning the Senate, winning the judicial branch, winning the executive. This was absolutely a mandate. Abuse this, terribly abuse this. They're not getting things done. They're not holding to their promises. There is no wall being built. There's Obamacare is still in place, including its mandate. All of this is because of the rhinos and their influence over the party. These centrist, John Kasich-esque um, candidates who are just afraid of conservative ideals. And this is supposed to be the conservative party with conservative principles who want true liberty, who want true freedom, who do not want the government intervening into your daily life. And these people can't get anything done. These are typical establishment career politicians, these rhinos, and we cannot vote for them. It is It is very sad to see the Republicans squander their mandate. I kind of agree with Kasich that the Republican Party can't be fixed, but however, I know it can be by voting out people like John Kasich. He's the issue. He's complaining about Roy Moore and that, not a fan of gay people. Or he doesn't think that Keith Ellerson of the Democrat Party should be elected because he's Muslim. Okay, he's old. He has some really outdated ideas, but that still doesn't change the ideals that Moore represents. Okay, you think he's intolerant, but he's not the one who wants to be regulated. He doesn't want regulation. He wants to have free and unfettered capitalism. And if you have free and unfettered capitalism, it's not going to be racist, because why would you hire a good worker just because of race? That is losing profit. That is anti-capitalist. So capitalists won't do it. This is what you have to understand. If you have free, then people can have whatever view they want, and the free markets will mitigate the effects of racism. You have to understand this, that people's profit motive overturns personal bias. So Roy, and the interesting thing about Roy Moore's social positions are not that crazy. If you're in the Republican Party just, 10, 15 years ago, his views were the norm, but the party has, I believe, changed on social issues for the better. We cannot have the government in our bedrooms. We cannot have the government in our pocket. That's just that is not the role of the government. The role of the government is to protect people's individual rights, their property rights. That is what the government is supposed to do, not interfering in what we sell, what we buy, what we consume. Not the role of government. People have individual agency, personal responsibility, and this is what the rhinos don't want politicians seeing. So this is why they're shutting down Roy Moore. This is why that libertarian-esque Republican candidates cannot get any traction, because these people constantly slander them and call them crazy. They have a point. You should be fighting policy, not their personal, opinions on social issues. I agree that Roy Moore is probably in the wrong here, but that doesn't change what he stands for. And that doesn't change what you stand for, Mr. Kasich. You and your Rhino friends are what's ruining the Republican Party. Okay, now let's turn on to the positive. This guy right here. This is Senator Rand Paul from Kentucky, the antithesis of John Kasich. This guy is I would say, the biggest champion for civil liberty in this country. This man is fighting for a balanced budget. He is fighting especially hard for fiscal responsibility. Rand Paul is the man. He is the person who believes that the government should be protecting individual property rights. He's the opposite of Kasich, and this is where the Republican Party needs to go, in the direction of Rand Paul. We cannot beat the Democrats if we're going to simply play by their game. We need to change. We need to make it seem like this is why the Democrats are always going to social issues to fight the Republicans, because those are really undefensible positions just because there are personal or moral statements of character. Republicans really can't defend that in the public arena, because they always get pinned as racists, Islamophobes, all this other stupid stuff. This is why the Democrats exploit identity politics, which is the most stupid thing. No immutable characteristic determines a person's value. This is just clear. Whatever skin color you are, how tall you are, that does not affect who you are as a person. This is what you have to understand. And now they're trying to construe gender as a non-immutable characteristic, which is crazy. To believe that you can choose your gender is absolutely stupid. Okay, I was diverging from the topic. Sorry, guys. So Rand Paul, he is him. The Mike Lees. There's a few others. So the Freedom Caucus in general is very supportive of freedom, and is really what's keeping the Republican Party from falling off the deep end, I would say. These are populists, these are libertarian candidates who really want to improve our country, unlike the rhinos who are just there for power. This is very obvious. You can see the difference between they would actually get stuff done if you gave Rand Paul and the other Freedom Caucus members the power to just decide what the Republican Party does. Is we would have action. We would have change. We'd have this country would become much freer. And the freer the people, the freer the society would become, and therefore we'd have a lot more prosperous society, a society in which everybody could live, everybody could earn profit, everybody could earn a living, assuming they wanted to do this. So let's first of all address that capitalism is not flawless, it has issues, it doesn't support those who can't support themselves. This is why capitalism allows for social safety nets created by the people for themselves. So churches, charities, all these things can help people. And I believe then they're closer to the people. See, if you concentrate power in Washington, they cannot effectively legislate for every region of the country. First of all, let's point out some simple truths here. People in Mississippi are a lot different than people in Connecticut. The wealth disparity is a whole lot different. And if you make one law that is beneficial to Connecticut, then you're going to have, and it could have a dramatic negative effect on Mississippi. See, this is why centralized power is not good, and this is why libertarianism is very important to government, because you have to realize that you have to decentralize the government, and then you need to limit the scope of the government to what the government can do more effectively than capitalism, and I believe that's simply to protect individual property rights, starting with oneself. So this is why Rand Paul's ideas are so important to the Republican Party. These are winning issues. We can't fight in identity politics. You will lose every time unless you can show to people that that identity politics is the stupidest thing. And just to let you know, guys, the identity politics is just not on the left. There's a small portion of the Republican Party members, the alt-right members that use identity politics, and I cannot condone the alt-right. The alt-right is just as bad as the SJWs and, the genderqueer people about exploiting immutable characteristics to gain political favor. This is what we need to get rid of, and this is why we need to go to the Rand Paul direction. Away from the Democrats, away from the do-nothing rhinos, and into someone's capable hands who actually knows how to run a government. And the best way to run a government is for the government to do nothing. This is why I'm such a big fan of Rand Paul and the other senators like Mike Lee and other Tea Party members. Sorry about for just rambling today. Catch you guys later. See you next time. Thank you. Feel free to like, comment, and subscribe.